Are we on? Okay, it looks like we're on. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Indaba Africa. This is Chris White Africa on the Indaba Africa channel. Welcome back. We're waiting now about 9 minutes away from the arrival or the transmission of President Cyril Ramaphosa from South Africa, who will be addressing the nation tonight in South Africa. It's currently 7:51 p.m. in South Africa and in Botswana. And we're waiting to hear from Ramaphosa what he'll be talking about. Lots of speculation about new lockdown constraints and measures in South Africa. We'll see if that's the case. We're sure to hear definitely from Ramaphosa the usual gobbledygook and nonsense about what a great and wonderful job as they pat themselves on the back. Watch Cyril Ramaphosa do backflips, congratulating himself on what a great job he's done, ensuring that South Africa accounts for only half of all the positive COVID tests in all of Africa, a single country of just 58 million people, responsible for over half of all the confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Africa, and a good chunk of the fatalities as well. So he'll hurt himself, he'll injure his arm, patting himself on the back. Let's watch that. That's coming up, folks. Good evening, everybody who's tuned in. Those of you who aren't running off and hiding, watching Roman Cabanak or Roman or Ronaldo, who I thought was offline, but looks like he's also streaming right now. So you're welcome to be here. You're welcome to be there, whichever floats your boat, whichever does it for you, folks. Waiting for these streams to come up. Neither ENCA nor SABC has anything up at the moment, but they will shortly. So we're just waiting for that to come up. And then once they're up, we'll bring those to you live right here in Chris White Africa, along with some commentary throughout Ramaphosa's conversation. We'll see what he's got to say. I wouldn't get too excited, folks. It's probably nothing good, and I seriously doubt that it'll be a Merry Christmas and good cheer for all families in South Africa. Yeah, I don't think that's what we're going to see, folks. Oh, you like that, Robin? Well, you've been missing in action, Robin, and it's actually, these things are lit. Let's turn the lights off. You can see very well, but no, that's the sun shining over there. Sorry, but there's actually green lights over there, and there's red lights over here, and the tree has got lights on it. Yeah, there you go. And my snowman has got lights all over him, but it's hard to see because of the sunlight. So let's fix this with this. Come on there. Stupid remotes. Okay, there we go. Got it back. Okay, so yeah, Robin, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. You're also missing, Robin, the daily consumption of the Advent calendar chocolate. We've gone through day 1, day 2. And now day 3. If you look behind me there, Robin, you'll see that Christmas is being counted down right there. 22 days left before Christmas Day. There you go. Thank you, Robin. Appreciate that. Anyway, very difficult to do that flip. Well, yeah, he's got a bit of a belly and that head is oversized. So Cyril Ramaphosa will find it very difficult to do a flip to get himself out of the way. Right. Let me go back and see if we got anything going on here yet with the feeds coming from ENCA and or SABC. Probably go with the ENCA feed. It's usually better and more reliable. Nope, nothing there. Oh, here we go. There it is. Got it finally. Got the ENCA finally posted theirs. So 5 minutes away from it is what they're telling us. Oh, that's SABC. That's not ENCA. I thought that was ENCA. All right, well, SABC's got their act up. Let's see. And ENCA is still putting up a link from October 25th. That's how they've done it. So we'll slide over and hopefully the SABC feed will be good. So let's see what happens here. Why is it not? Okay, so I can't do full screen yet because it's not ready. There she is. There's Jessica. Welcome. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Just came from Ronaldo's live where he was talking smack on Chris. Really? Well, that's because Ronaldo's jealous. He has beard envy. He has career achievement envy. He's a very frustrated young man who just can't grow anything but stubble and has to make out with his dogs to get attention. It's on. It's on like junior rodeo. It's on. There you go, folks. Sheldon's going to make Penny play Panty Pinata. It's on like junior rodeo time. Anyway, folks, welcome to the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get Ramaphosa up here shortly, guys. So Jessica's just come in from Ronaldo's stream. Well, thank you for joining me from Ronaldo's stream. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Ginaldo's here. Ginaldo Rose, good evening to you as well. And Beard Envy, 100% correct, says Bradley. Yeah, he does. He just can't. I don't have any pets to bark, so I really can't compete with that. I just have my lovely background, my scenery, and my insightful analysis, which I offer free of charge here on the channel. You are welcome to Super Chat. Let me do my best, Ronaldo. Super Chat. Buy my merch. Buy my merch. It's all good fun, folks. Ronaldo asked me to appear on his show program once a week now, a regular program. I don't know, Wacky Wednesday or something like that. And in that stream, I answered the question 4 times. Yes, I'm happy to come over there. And I wrote to him a couple of days ago and said, hey, since you're on hiatus, are we still doing the Wednesday show? And he goes, listen, old man, I asked you, you didn't answer. I'm like, dude, I told you 4 times. You read all 4 of the messages. You don't remember? I think somebody else is losing it, not me. Anyway, I'm just saying, 3 minutes, 17 seconds now away, folks, and counting. If you've just come over from Roman, he sounds more froggy than usual. Apparently he's not feeling particularly well. So if that frog voice doesn't do it for you, you're welcome to be here on this channel. Thank you all for tuning in. Tian says, I have merch. I do have merch. I have merch on the Teespring site, but it's not available in South Africa, unfortunately, because they don't ship there. So if you're in South Africa, it doesn't really help you out. But if you're in the UK, Europe, Australia, in North America, you can order that merchandise. Still working on a South African solution. I'm not really happy with the answers I've seen so far, so we're working on that. 2 minutes and 40 seconds now, counting down to Ramaphosa supposedly going to appear on for his broadcast. So we'll see what happens, folks, if he shows up here. Just waiting for him to pop up. Patrick Vuka she's back. Good to see you again. You think Ronaldo's self-serving? Maybe. I don't know. Choco Gamer's back. Pikey, Peaky, Robin. Robin has been absent a lot lately. I'm not buffering. Who's buffering? Me or Ronaldo? Let's see. Ashton de Villiers says it's been a long year. It has been a brutal year, Ashton, in so many respects. As I mentioned in my stream earlier, for those who weren't here, I got a message from my sister this morning just before I went on air. My mother's been taken to a hospice, and so my mother called and asked the nurse to give the phone to my mother so she could get her wishes. And my mother told my sister that she's ready to go. It's very disheartening news to hear. My mother is suffering through a great deal of pain from her stage 4 metastatic lung cancer, which she's been living with for 2 years. And it has taken its toll of late. So she told my sister she's ready to go earlier. I don't know if she really is or she's just in a lot of pain, and that's what came out of her mouth. I will call my mother later and see what's going on. But, yeah, it's a bit frustrating, to say the least. How are we doing here? 1 minute, 25 seconds away. We'll see if it comes up, folks. Okay, Jessica says, my number one choice of all these oaks. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, even though I keep mispronouncing your name because people are leading me astray. By the way, folks, do you like the new sexy microphone I picked up? Check it out. Isn't that cool? When I go silent, I can just tap it, and it stops being red. How cool is that? That's super cool, huh? Yeah, I like that. Got the nice little balancing cables there. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Vine Prince, for the best wishes to my mom. Who's the cheeky wanker? Don't be a troll, be Lekka. I like that, be Lekka. Let's see what else. Evening, Brandon Young. Olaf, good to see you here. It now says that we're waiting for SABC News to start transmitting. Let's see if we're waiting for ENCA as well. Come on, folks, get your stuff together. Nope, let me see. I click on this. I think they're playing an advert there. Again, this is not now. This is not now, is it? This is strange. Sorry, I'm just double checking to make sure that it looks like they're playing old footage. Yeah, they're playing old footage on the NCA. Yeah, it's not now. So trying to trick us here, trying to trick us. Not falling for that one. Not falling for that one, ENCA. Patrick said, oh, you're stoned. Oh, okay. All right, that's good to know. Nope, it's not there. This is ENCA is letting us down as usual. What's going on here with SABC? Again, folks, we don't anticipate that Ramaphosa will show up on time. He rarely does, and he is not on time. It is now 8 p.m. in South Africa, and we're still waiting for Ramaphosa to show up. Like many politicians, they like to keep us waiting, folks. Jeffrey House says, blessings to Colonel and Special Mom. Well, thank you so much, Jeffrey. Have you been on the channel before? I don't recall seeing you, or are you just quiet in the background? Oliver M., same thing. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Dolph Jonka, good to see you again. That's like the coolest name, Dolph Jonka. I made Dolph Lundgren. I always like that name. Is it Michael van Heerden says, Michael van Heerden says, sorry to hear about your mom. All the best to you and your family. From a healthcare professional, you should take the time now to call your mom. Time waits for no one. No, I have spoken to my mom, and I don't think it was the last call, but if it was the last call, it was a good one to have. So I spoke to her last night. So I don't want to, she's resting right now, so I don't want to disturb her rest. She's very popular in the trucking community. Truckers have been calling and wishing her the best and trying to take care of her. And they've been ringing her phone constantly, which has been wearing her out. So Starry Dog is here. Good to see you again. Again, we're waiting for Ramaphosa. What is the deal here? Nothing surprising here, folks. No shows. But you would think that the South African broadcasters would still have something up, be prepared for this. But they're not at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm surprised. I'm not subscribed to ENCA. That's interesting. I thought I was. Okay, I'll definitely subscribe to SABC. But evening to everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. Elizabeth, are we sure Cyril will be on time? No. No. State capture streaming is still live. Do you mean SABC? No, it's not. There's nothing there unless you're talking about it's on DSTV or something like that, but not over the internet. I don't have access to DSTV. I do have a DSTV dish and receiver sitting in my garage, but I do not have access to it because I'm no longer in Africa. Good evening, Etienne. Good to see you once again. And just double checking here. Waiting. Nothing there. Still nothing. Just double checking. Anyway, so I just don't want to miss the start, folks. That's all. Because it's so important. It's so compelling. Gosh, we wouldn't want to miss Ramaphosa's start because he's going to pat himself on the back. Thankfully, SABC YouTube channel. I'm on SABC YouTube channel. There's nothing on there, Elizabeth. Nothing's playing. Waiting is what it says. There's nothing there. Does SABC have multiple YouTube channels? There's nothing here. Still waiting. The state capture is on. Let's see what Ronaldo's got going on. I'm going to peek on Ronaldo. I'm going to do a Ronaldo's bomb here real quick and see what he's got going on. Let me say, load. No, he's not on either. Switch over as soon as the president goes live. Exactly. Ronaldo's doing this. If Ronaldo's got 4,300 people, I got 100 people. Oh, here we go, folks. Here we go.
Limadekwana, Riperile, Sanbonan, Dumelang, Lochani, my fellow South Africans. Tonight I wish to speak to you about the current state of the coronavirus pandemic in our country. But before doing so, I wish to express my profound appreciation to all South Africans who observed the 5 days of mourning from the 25th to the 29th of November in honor of those who have lost their lives to COVID-19
empty virtue signaling
and to gender-based violence and femicide.
You're about 10 years late,
As
buddy.
we remember them, let us pledge that we will do everything within our means to contain these two pandemics and continue saving lives. The global pandemic continues to cause devastation across the world, with more than 64 million infections and nearly 1.5 million confirmed deaths
The Black
in a
Plague
number
killed
of countries,
75
including
million in 4
ours.
years. 75 million.
We've seen many countries around the world experience a resurgence of the coronavirus, some with second waves even worse than their initial peak. Where South Africa once had the 5th highest number of infections in the world, we have now fallen to 14th in the world as infections in other countries, these have surged dramatically. And yet, despite the progress we have made, we've always known that a second wave of infections is possible in our own country if we do not take the necessary measures to protect ourselves and those around us.
Wash your hands.
There is now clear evidence of a resurgence of infections in parts of our country, which, if not confronted decisively and directly, could lead to great suffering and death.
No.
This pandemic has already taken a heavy toll on our country.
Yeah, you have taken a heavy toll on your country.
A total number of 800,872 people are confirmed to have been infected by the virus in South Africa since March. Around 92% of these people have, however, recovered, and this is good news.
It's normal.
As of today, 21,803 people are known to have died from COVID-19 in South Africa.
Well, you attribute their deaths to COVID-19.
For nearly 100 days since the middle of August, we managed to keep the rate of new infections stable at below 2,000 new infections a day. However, that has changed in the last 3 weeks. There has been a marked rise in new infections and an increase in the number of people being admitted to our hospitals.
And how many have died from tuberculosis?
In the first week of November, we were recording an average of 1,500 new cases a day. By the last week of November,
yes,
this had almost doubled to an average of around 2,900 new cases a day.
It's almost tripling.
Yesterday, South Africa recorded over 4,400 new infections.
Wow.
The largest daily increase in infections since the middle of August.
And how much more testing are you doing now?
The total number of hospital admissions is now over 5,800 nationally, and it keeps on increasing. 3 weeks ago, hospital admissions were around 4,900. There are 3 areas in our country that account for most of these new infections.
The Western Cape. Here it comes.
I alluded to some of these when I last spoke to the nation. These are Nelson Mandela Bay and the Sarah Baartman district in the Eastern Cape and the Garden Route district in the Western Cape. Hospital admissions in these districts are on the rise. In some instances, they are comparable to those during the first wave of infections.
No.
In the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, there's been an increase in both reported COVID-19 deaths and excess deaths.
No, that isn't true.
This must be a concern for every one of us.
We're terrified. Absolutely
There
terrified.
are a number of reasons for the rise in transmission.
Your idiocy? Your
Many
failure?
people are tending to travel between provinces and within each province in higher numbers, especially with the festive season now approaching. In the case of the Garden Route, this also applies to the movement of seasonal workers who work in one province and live in another province. Social, cultural, and religious gatherings are being held in large numbers. In many cases, these gatherings are often attended by many more people than what is permitted under level 1 restrictions.
Shame on them.
What is concerning is that these are also often held in venues or places which have poor ventilation. This is particularly the case for funerals, which are often followed by large so-called after-tears parties.
Outdoors?
Several hospitals in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro have reported a rise in alcohol-related trauma admissions.
Nothing to do with COVID. Move on.
As we have said in the past, these alcohol-related trauma admissions divert our capacity that is needed to deal with COVID-related cases.
You mean those empty beds been empty for 6 months?
But by far the greatest contributing cause of infections is that many people are not wearing masks and are not observing proper hygiene and social distancing.
Like 30 feet
As
apart?
I said during our last family meeting, at alert level 1, we have the measures we need to control the virus.
No, you don't.
All the tools are in place.
Notice he's sweating from his lip.
But our main problem is that there are parts of our country where people are not complying with the current restrictions.
Oh, those colored
and the
people.
basic prevention
It's the colored
measures
people's fault.
are not being followed. The most urgent task before us now is to contain the rise in infections in the affected districts in the Eastern Cape and the Western Cape, and to ensure that a similar situation does not develop in other parts of the country.
Why don't you just protect the vulnerable, genius?
To prevent this, we're putting into motion the resurgence plan that we developed with the World Health Organization's search team.
WHO.
We are making more capacity available at hospitals and clinics in these areas. We are expanding public health interventions such as testing, contact tracing, isolation, and quarantine. We are also stepping up our awareness campaigns around public health regulations.
Lie.
Now, fellow South Africans, we must change our behavior now to prevent a resurgence of the virus and manage outbreaks wherever they occur.
We must change the ruling
If
party
we think
now.
of this pandemic like a bushfire, we need to quickly extinguish the flare-ups, the flames, before they turn into a big wildfire like an inferno.
Like an EFF arson fire in the Free State.
At the same time, we need to do all we can to keep the economy of our country open and to push ahead with our reconstruction and recovery effort.
Your economy's dead, dingus.
In line with our differentiated approach to the management of the pandemic, we will therefore implement additional measures in those areas identified as coronavirus hotspots. When identifying a hotspot, consideration is given to the number of new COVID-19 cases that occur per day, the testing rate within the population, the percentage positivity rate within the population, the number of active cases, the number of hospital admissions, and the number of deaths. This may sound complicated.
Not at all.
But it is how we determine what a hotspot is.
You even understand it. I do.
Now, following a recommendation of the National Coronavirus Command Council, and after consultation with premiers, metro mayors, and traditional leaders, Cabinet has decided to declare the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality as a coronavirus hotspot.
Free Wi-Fi, hotspot.
In addition to the existing Alert Level 1 regulations, the following additional restrictions will apply in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro.
Here we go.
With effect from midnight tonight.
Uh-oh, party. Go party, folks.
The first is that the hours of the curfew will be from 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. This means that, except for emergencies, no person may be outside their place of residence between these times. This does not apply to essential workers
or cadres
who are permitted to work during these hours. Secondly, the sale of alcohol from retail outlets will only be permitted between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. from Monday to Thursday.
Because it proved to be so effective before. Not.
Thirdly, alcohol consumption in public spaces such as the beautiful beaches of the area and parks is strictly forbidden. This is necessary to prevent large social gatherings that often take place in those spaces.
Where's the science here, moron?
Fourthly, gatherings, including religious gatherings, may not be attended by more than 100 people for indoor events and 250 for outdoor events. At all times, the total number of people in a venue may not exceed more than 50% of the capacity of the venue. That is the carrying capacity of the venue.
You clowns are going to find yourself.
And finally, all post-funeral gatherings that are now regarded as after-tears parties are prohibited. These additional measures are necessary to contain the resurgence that we are experiencing right now in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Necessary to enslave
to
the people.
prevent outbreaks, resulting from social gatherings and to protect the capacity of our healthcare system to provide care for those who need it.
Unbelievable. To enslave the people.
Now, in determining these restrictions,
We used muti.
we have sought to take those steps which are absolutely necessary to save lives while
Absolutely
limiting
necessary.
disruptions to the economy. Following extensive consultations
With which
with
doctors?
traditional leaders,
Traditional leaders. I was
we
close.
have agreed that the summer initiation season in the Eastern Cape may go ahead.
Oh, those gatherings should take
This
place.
is because traditional leaders in the Eastern Cape have submitted a risk-adjusted plan that has been approved by the Departments of Health and Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs.
Well, I got a plan for alcohol consumption.
This
Take my plan.
plan includes strict adherence to health protocols, including screening of initiates, the provision of personal protective equipment, and the provision of water for hygiene and to prevent dehydration.
Will the PP cover their PP when you cut it?
However, due to the high rates of infection in the metro, no initiation schools will be allowed in Nelson Mandela Bay. The measures that are being taken in relation to Nelson Mandela Bay are not meant to punish the residents of Nelson Mandela Bay.
Oh, but they are.
They are not intended to increase the hardship that is already being experienced by our citizens.
That's exactly what they're intended
These
to do.
measures are needed to contain the spread of the virus and to save lives.
No, they're not.
In the coming days, the Minister of Health, Dr. Zwelini Mkhize,
Who?
will be visiting the Sarah Baartman district and the Garden Route to assess the situation and to engage with various stakeholders in the province. Based on this assessment and the development of the disease in these areas, the National Coronavirus Command Council will determine the appropriate course of action, and if
undemocratic.
any, that will be announced in due course.
Of course, the totalitarian body, the NCCC.
To ensure that we maintain the current prevention measures, the national state of disaster
Ooh, extended for
will
another
be
30 days.
extended to the 15th of January 2021 in line with the Disaster Management Act.
You can't do this in perpetuity, jackass.
All existing level 1 restrictions remain in force and in place throughout the country. We have all the tools that we need to prevent a resurgence in the rest of the country. We can only do this if every one of us play their part. We can only prevent a second wave if all of us respect the rules, the measures, and the protocols that have been put in place for the protection of everyone.
We have been for 8 months, and look what you've
For the
gotten us.
safety of all of us, those who break the rules must face consequences.
Ooh, like you.
We have instructed law enforcement officials to ensure compliance with the law
Piss off.
by owners, by controllers, managers of workplaces, shops, institutions, and buildings to ensure social distancing and wearing of masks and all the other hygiene protocols. Taxi operators are also required to ensure that all their passengers in their vehicles wear masks. In addition, each one of us will be
Toddlers.
required to comply with the curfew times, together with the
Does that include
measures
EFF arsonists in the
to
Free State?
contain a resurgence in hotspot areas.
Hotspot
The
areas.
national effort continues to strengthen public health interventions such as community screening, increased testing, contact tracing, and communication on behavioral change. As we have said in the past, the only viable defense we will have against COVID-19 will be the vaccine.
No, removal of the ANC.
There are now many initiatives around the world to speed up the development of a vaccine.
And none of them are in South Africa.
We continue to collaborate with our partners
Beg,
in the international community
plead for help.
to ensure that all countries have access to an effective and affordable vaccine.
We'll call them racist, so they'll give it to us for free.
No one is left behind.
We will be left behind because we're
We are
incompetent.
participating in the World Health Organization's COVID-19 Global Vaccine Access Facility, known as the COVAX facility,
Doesn't exist.
which aims to pool resources and share vaccine development risk and thus ensure equitable access to
You
vaccines
jackass.
when they become available.
We have assumed all risk for this vaccine
We
for the
are
past 10 months. You haven't
encouraged
assumed
that the
anything.
Solidarity Fund that we formed at the beginning of the surge in infections will be making the initial contribution of 327 million rand towards this vaccine procurement on behalf of our country.
Where's that coming
We're
from?
also encouraged by the promising results from 3 trials of candidate vaccines which have shown efficacy levels of between 70 and 95%.
Talking about American research.
We await confirmation from medicine regulators that these vaccines are safe, that they are effective, and that they will be suitable for the needs of our people. In South Africa, our own Health Products Regulatory Authority, SAPRA, will review the approval applications when received from the developers of vaccines and authorize their use. Let us remember that until a vaccine is developed and distributed, we remain our own best protection against COVID-19. It is through our everyday actions that we will keep ourselves and others safe.
Yes, Chocolate Gamer, he's reading a script.
And I need to keep on repeating
Teleprompter.
this message,
You need to shut up.
that it is through wearing a mask in public at all times
No
that
science.
we will be able to keep ourselves safe.
That's a lie. You got no evidence of that.
It is
None
also by
whatsoever.
observing social distancing and avoid large gatherings and indoor spaces where ventilation is poor. It is
Define
through
poor ventilation.
regularly washing or sanitizing our hands. I know we may get
This guy's
bored
president of a country?
with the
This is
repetition
comical.
of the same message, but I'd like this message to sink. I was recently most impressed
Oh, well, you know.
that a 4-year-old little girl
Oh, yes.
was repeating exactly the same message and telling adults what the president has been saying.
Successfully
So the
indoctrinated.
message does need to be repeated
Of course, to
so
indoctrinate
that
the
it
serfs.
sinks into our subconsciouses. We can also protect ourselves by downloading the COVID Alert mobile app that can notify us if we are exposed to the virus and thereby help to break the chain of transmission.
No, thank
It is
you for the
extremely
app.
encouraging that the COVID Alert SA app has now been downloaded by more than 1 million South Africans. If you have not yet downloaded it, you are one of those who are
happened
being
there?
left behind. If there is
Where'd he go?
anything this pandemic has taught us, it is the danger of becoming complacent
Cyril went invisible.
and relaxing. Across the world, countries with declining infections have eased restrictions only to
What's going on?
experience a second and even a more severe wave, forcing them to reimpose restrictions on movement, on gatherings, and on economic activity. If there ever was
crazy.
a time for caution, this is the time. The festive season is approaching. Schools and places of higher learning have closed for the summer holidays. Many of us are winding down at work and will soon be at home with our families.
Changing the feed, folks.
Many of us are preparing to travel to reunite with friends and family. Many of
Traveling
us are preparing to
carries
travel, to reunite with friends and family. Traveling
I've switched
carries
feeds to
great
ENCA.
risks,
SABC
which we can
broken.
reduce by avoiding unnecessary travel. We can also reduce infection risk by wearing a mask in public transport, keeping the vehicle windows open, and maintaining prevention measures on arrival.
So the virus can enter the
The
vehicle.
summer season is traditionally a time for social gatherings where we attend festivals and fun events
Fun
and
events.
socialize
There's no fun
at
in
weddings,
2020,
religious
genius.
gatherings, and in both public and private spaces. These social gatherings, fellow South Africans, can be super spreader events
Ooh, super
that
spreader.
carry a huge risk of transmission of the virus.
Ooh.
This is being experienced by many countries across the world.
Really?
Each of us needs to ensure we take precautions
Yes.
to avoid spreading the virus
Wash
to
your
our
hands.
families, especially our elders.
Vote in Kata Freedom
We
Party.
should keep gatherings small. We should have them outside or in well-ventilated venues.
Yes.
We should ensure social distancing
Absolutely.
and continue wearing our masks
No.
as much as
No.
possible.
No.
We must remember that as much as we want to relax, this virus does not relax.
The ANC doesn't relax.
And this virus does not take a holiday.
The ANC is relentless.
This 2020 has been a difficult year for us as a nation and as a country.
As the ANC stole your liberty.
It has severely tested our resolve and demanded great sacrifices of each and every one of us.
tested our patience.
But even as the holidays approach, we cannot let our guard down
No, we got to be
unless
careful.
we take personal responsibility for our health and the health of others. More people are going to become infected.
More?
More
No.
people are going to die.
No.
Over the last 8 months, many people have lost parents, siblings, spouses,
Yes.
friends,
To
and
tuberculosis,
colleagues to COVID-19.
HIV.
As a nation,
Murder.
we have lost many brave frontline workers who are caring for those in hospitals and our clinics. We have lost essential service workers who helped to keep this country running, moving, and operating during the lockdown period.
No thanks to the ANC.
We have lost teachers who went to school every day to support our children and to ensure our matriculants were able to write their final exams. We owe it to
22%
all those
passing grade.
whose lives have been so tragically cut short by this deadly virus not to let the same suffering and pain be visited on even more families and more of our people. We owe it to our own friends and relatives and those around us.
To vote the ANC out.
We owe it to our country
To get rid of the ANC.
because a resurgence of the virus would be a severe blow and a setback to our emerging economic recovery,
There's no emerging. You destroy your
to our
economy.
efforts to restore and create jobs,
Are you delusional?
and to our provision of services to our people.
Are you already on Mars, Cyril?
Most of all, we owe it to ourselves and each other because this affects all of us.
Oh, it does.
Tonight, we
This fraud.
stand in solidarity with the people of Nelson Mandela Bay Metro
Whom you're going to serve.
as they work to contain this outbreak. I have the utmost confidence that
It's utmost, not outmost genius.
Premier Oscar Mabuyane and the leadership of the Eastern Cape is doing and will do all that is necessary to bring the rate of infection down once again. I call on each and every one of you to remember those whose lives have been lost and the precious lives we still have to save.
Welcome to the Twilight
Over
Zone.
the past 8 months, we succeeded in bringing the virus
comes.
under control by acting together and working hand in hand. We fought this pandemic with everything that we had. Through our combined efforts, we saved many thousands of lives, which would otherwise have been needlessly lost.
Self-congratulatory
Now,
notes.
as the number of infections begins to rise again,
It's not our fault.
we must not sacrifice the gains that we have made.
Such as they don't
We
exist.
cannot return to the darker days of June and July.
When you arrested people for
You
sitting on the beach.
remember?
Arrested surfers.
When transmission of the virus was widespread and scary,
But now you have record numbers.
and the lives of our families and friends were at risk.
From ANC
Just
governance.
as we know that a second wave is possible,
Second wave.
we know too
We're on our fourth.
that it can be avoided.
Yeah.
So
Move.
tonight, I'm asking you to recommit yourself to this fight.
Now,
We're in a fight of our lives.
we are. Remove the ANC.
We can still prevent the virus from spreading any further if we take the appropriate steps now.
Vote the ANC
Just
out.
as we did in the early days of the pandemic, let us stand together and let us work together. We will get through this period of difficulty as we did the ones before.
As the cadres did. Not
May
the 3 million
God
people lost their
continue to
jobs.
bless our beautiful country, South Africa,
Please.
and protect all her people.
Ugh.
I thank you.
Oh. Notice how he's sweating from his lip there, folks? There you go. That's Cyril Ramaphosa. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to stop that right there because it's just vomit-inducing. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get to this very quickly. I want to shut it down so we make sure we don't get interrupted here. Wow, that's unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, the clueless wonder that he is once again. At least this time, he chose not to blame white people for all of South Africa's problems or coloreds for all of South Africa's problems. Whoa, focus here. Focus, camera. There you go. Yeah, at least this time he didn't choose to blame whites and coloreds in South Africa for all the misery. But let's run through the series of hits, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Nelson Mandela Bay, Sarah Barton Municipality, and the Garden Route in the Western Cape. So the Eastern Western Cape will be the targets of the serfdom exercise in South Africa as they seek to imprison South Africans. So here you go, a little bit of analysis, talk about the analysis that Cyril Ramaphosa brought to the table, folks. Here you go. You ready for this? Okay, first off, Nelson Mandela Bay. You will now face a curfew from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m. because we all know that the virus is magical. It doesn't propagate in daylight. So we're going to tell you not to be out of your house from 10 p.m. until 4 a.m., 2200 to 0400 daily, because that's the only time the virus propagates. These curfews are ludicrous, folks. They're meant to keep people out of bars. That's what they're meant to do. Why don't you just keep people out of bars, dinguses? Yeah, see what else we got here. The retail sale of alcohol is now only from 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Well, at least it wasn't banned entirely. So if you want to get your Chibuku or your Cape Wines or your Casa Lager, get moving, folks. Consumption in public spaces of alcohol is strictly forbidden now. Well, if you've been drinking in public parks, I'd say you've got a drinking problem to begin with, folks. But consumption in public spaces, unless you're on a picnic or something like that. Gatherings indoors cannot be greater than 100 because, 100 is the magic number, folks. If you have 99 people, you can't spread COVID-19. But if you have 100, you can spread it like wildfire. It's a super spreader event, that one person. And then, of course, outdoor events are limited to 250 people. So no rugby, no cricket. Not that anybody's going to miss cricket because you can't have any spectators. Yeah, exactly. Post-funeral gatherings are now prohibited, folks. Prohibited. By the way, back on the gatherings thing, no facility can have more than 50% of its authorized seating capacity because we know that 50% is a magic number. When you get to 50%, that's when suddenly COVID-19 takes off. It's dormant until you get to 50%. So if you're 49% of occupancy, COVID-19 is dormant inside a building, regardless of how poor the ventilation is. 50% is the magic number, ladies and gentlemen. And so now post-funeral gatherings are prohibited, not allowed. Cyril Ramaphosa has told us this for Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. So Port Elizabeth, enjoy your misery. And let's see what else we got here. Oh, yes, they will allow the the circumcision, the circumcision of young boys in the Eastern Cape because they've consulted with traditional leaders. Unlike alcohol dealers, unlike bars and restaurants and shebeen owners, they took the time to consult with traditional leaders because that's the most important thing going on in South Africa because the rite of passage is critical for South Africa's economic well-being. Not restaurants, not bars, not tourist destinations. They didn't talk to those people. They didn't consult them at all. They consulted traditional leaders in their pandering, their shameful pandering. The African National Congress has consulted with traditional leaders, traditional healers, to ensure that the initiation rites can take place in the Eastern Cape. This is critically important to South Africa's economic development. Absolutely critically important is to snip that foreskin off those young boys. That makes all the difference in life, and it will ensure the survival of South Africa's economy. You know, what they'll do, apparently, is they'll snip off that foreskin. They'll use that for grafting for medical cases, for patients, apparently. That's what they'll do with it, because we know that that's so important to South Africa's economic well-being. So yeah, now that's because they'll screen the participants, the initiates. They will also provide personal protective equipment. So I don't know how it looks, folks, but I guess when you put the spacesuit on and you pull your junk out and they come by with the garden shears and start snipping off that foreskin, there must be like a plastic shield that goes over the top of your genitalia so that you don't spray the virus, because, you know, it comes out of the genitals, right? I mean, it's, you know, we already know from the science devoted ANC and its National Coronavirus Command Council that, of course, what happens is that the coronavirus is transmitted through the big toe. That's why we had the ban on the sale of open-toed shoes, because that's the main vector. So apparently it also comes from your genitalia, right? So they're going to have personal protective equipment on to protect their genitalia in the initiation rites there in the Eastern Cape. Look, nothing against the Xhosa and the others and the Zulu in the Eastern Cape who participate in these initiation rites. Don't mean to denigrate your cultural tradition. That is not the point of this. Your cultural tradition has great value to you and to society as a whole. What I'm denigrating is the stupidity of the African National Congress in their efforts to contain the virus. They have no idea what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen. No idea whatsoever. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Anyway, there will be no initiation rites in Nelson Mandela Bay. So if you want to get your wee-wee clipped, you have to go out into the bush. I thought that's where it was done traditionally anyway. So I'm a little bit lost on that one. So what happened here? So people have popped in with the exact same names, and what's going on there? Yeah, the cherries don't have limits. What else? Is Eureka back? I haven't seen Eureka in ages. Eureka Ostoisden's here. I'm over this. Lost 2 family members during lockdown. Not one had COVID. My sister without work since the beginning of lockdown, as she works in the dead travel industry. More jobs dead than people. By a wide margin, Eureka, by a wide margin. This is disgraceful conduct. It's unbelievable what they've been doing. Aryan revolt. The locals will never vote out the ANC, Chris. They are uneducated masses who are swindled by fat, useless criminals with promises KFC. Well, Aryan, no doubt there are some when you say locals. To me, locals are South Africans of all ethnicities. But if you're talking about black South Africans, there are a number of black South Africans that will vote for the ANC regardless of whatever apocalypse it brings upon the people of South Africa. But there's an awful lot of black South Africans that don't really care for this either. They're also hotful and they're ready for change. So you just need to go out there and talk to them and find them. Why are we getting Deeran, Chevy, and Deeran? Are these from the same family there? Govinder? Wow, welcome to you if you guys are from the same family. Thanks for tuning in. Why are we getting all these Govinders? Are you actually real people here? Anyway, so what else? We got me check out the chat here and see what you guys had to say. Or apartheid, yeah, Flip. Hey, welcome back, Flip Duplessis. Mohammed Rais Ibrahim, welcome to you. And dear Mr. Ramaphosa, you speak of the lives lost and cannot recognize the fact that farmers being murdered on a daily basis. Indeed, not just farmers, folks. 60 South Africans a day are murdered in South Africa. How many people die each day from tuberculosis? Let's do the math very quickly here. I haven't bothered to break it down day by day, but I'll tell you, it's quite a few, folks. It's more than there have been lost to COVID-19. 34,000 deaths divided by 365 days means that 93 South Africans die from tuberculosis each and every day. 93. Right? What's the total count on the COVID-19 scam? Let's go check the total number on that for South Africa, which, by the way, Ramaphosa was all excited. We've dropped from 5th in the world to 14th. Well, congratulations to you. That's such an impressive achievement there. Not because you've lowered the number of cases or you reduced the incidence rate, but because other countries have surged. Well, good for you. You know, China was number one until Italy passed them, and they were really proud of that, the Chinese, but that didn't speak well about China. So let's try the Worldometer, because that's one that no one's looked at in ages. Remember, every day, every hour, people go and check out the Worldometer for coronavirus just a few months ago? Now we haven't done it in ages. By the way, folks, 64 million people have tested positive, and we know that many of these tests are fraudulent. Elon Musk exposed this for us, as if you didn't know about it already. Elon Musk took 4 of the main tests. 2 said he was positive, 2 said he was negative. He actually didn't have COVID-19. So the two positives were bullshit. So the 65 million people who supposedly have coronavirus tested for it, how many of them actually had it? By the way, 1.5 million deaths attributed to it. That's a nonsensical number. We know that's not the case. But let's take a look at South Africa, which is now 14th in the world. What's 16th? They've dropped. Yeah, 21,709 people have died from this year. By the way, the virus has been around all year. So let's just take the whole year. It's going to be higher than this, but we'll parse it out. So let's see, we got 21,000. They claim 21,709 people have died from this. 21,709, and we'll do that by. Hang on a second. So it's been 8. Let's just go at 8 months. Okay, 9 months. 9 months times 30 days. That's 270 days. There you go. So that's 20. Where's it at? 20. Come back. 21,709. 21,709 divided by 270 days equals 80 deaths per day from COVID-19. We've lost 93 people per day from tuberculosis in South Africa. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Cyril. Now, why is it that you have the inability and the common sense to deal with reality here? How many people have died from HIV in South Africa this year? Let's do the numbers on that. I used to know that off the top of my head. I'm going to have to look it up. Annual deaths, HIV, South Africa. Okay. See, here you go, folks. This is why these people are so unbelievable. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to look this information up. It's very simple, very simple. So, number of HIV infections, I don't care about infections, 71,000, okay? Since 2010, it's been dropping from 140,000 a year to 71,000. So 71,000, okay, right? Let's do that for a whole year. So that's 71,000 divided by 365 days. That means that 194 people per day die from HIV in South Africa, 93 die from tuberculosis every day, and 80 are dying from COVID-19. Did we stop the clock for South Africa when we discovered HIV? No. Do we stop the clock for the deaths from tuberculosis? No, we do not. The number of deaths from tuberculosis and HIV combined dwarfs the number of deaths from COVID-19, and the world didn't stop for that. This is nonsense. It's fraud. It's a scam perpetrated on people, especially around the world, but also in South Africa, in order to imprison you, to turn you into serfs. It's working. Over 3 million jobs lost. Thousands of businesses have collapsed and are gone forever in South Africa. Only the uber wealthy are well off. Those in the middle class, those at the lower ends are in great suffering as a consequence of the ANC's feckless leadership when it comes to this virus. Absolutely disgraceful. Did I hear correctly? Ramaphosa said they're going to have car guards. You know, the little dudes you pay a couple rand to watch your car so it doesn't get stolen, broken into, or smashed when you're in a shop. They're going to get them to report or to make you wear your mask. How? Are you going to pay car guards now? And where's that money coming from? Those car guards work for tips that they get and or money they get from malls and shopping places like that. What a bunch of nonsense. What a bunch of nonsense. Hey, Craig, let's see what else we got here. How much does it cost to have a test done over there? Over here? I don't know. It's anywhere from $75 to $500 a test is what I've heard. I've never gotten a test because I was denied a test. I wanted a test to go to Ghana last week, and my healthcare provider denied. They said, we won't give you a test because you have no symptoms of COVID-19. I'm like, excuse me? So the only way I can get a test is to be sick? Well, yeah. Or if you're still active duty and you have to travel. I'm like, well, I do have to travel, but you're not active duty. So I can't have a test, which means I can't travel, which means I'm a slave and a serf to your whims and demands, essentially. So why in the hell have I paid for insurance for medical care, which I've been denied for this past year? No access to the clinic. Haven't been in the clinic once. My medications, haven't picked any up. No, nothing. And what am I paying for? Your hysteria. That's what I'm paying for. Their hysteria. Yeah, so I can't get a COVID-19 test, at least for my healthcare provider. Now, if I go out to find a third party and pay a fortune where my insurance doesn't cover it, maybe then I can get a test. But that's just bullshit. It doesn't say anything anyway. So you jam that thing up my nostril, right there, smash into my brain, cause brain damage, pull it out, stick it in, go test it. Great. Doesn't mean anything. If it turns up negative and it's genuine, it means I was negative when you took it a few minutes ago. The moment I walk out the door, somebody sneezes on me and coughs in my direction, and I get COVID-19. That test means nothing. Yet I can get on a plane during the incubation period and travel all over the world because I have a piece of paper that's just a fraud. It's a fraud, folks. It's an absolute fraud. This is BS. What's the penalty for treason? Penalty for treason in the United States is execution. We execute people who are convicted of treason. But convicting someone of treason in the United States is very hard to do. You must have two witnesses to the treason, and it's almost impossible to convict someone of treason. Yeah, he is a clown. Liberate KwaZulu-Natal. I like that. What else we got here? Studies have shown the virus got weaker. Studies have shown the masks don't help at all. Studies have shown the virus doesn't harm kids. Studies have shown Cyril's an idiot. Henry Ford, I think you're absolutely correct. Those studies are all spot on. Exactly. Dear Ramaphosa, you speak of lives lost and cannot recognize the fact that foreign lives be murdered. Thank you, Francois Crawford. That's an interesting surname, Crawford. I've never seen that before. What else we got here? Mohammed, I already saw. Tanya DeVenter's back. Where have you guys been? I've been missing you guys. You've been missing from my streams lately. Are you short on cash and dough for the data? What's going on? I saw 4,200 people showed up for Ronaldo earlier. You probably got a lot more than that. Let's see what else. Chevy Govinder. Laughing, I buy cigs from car guards. They don't give a crap about the rules. Good people, says Sylvester Stalling. Yeah. You're making me laugh. I'm choking there. Vernon Watts says, I canceled my medical insurance. My daughter smashed her elbow. Private hospital, $60,000. Wouldn't touch her till I paid. Yeah, exactly. $60,000. Main cause of death is dying, says Eugene Brossel. That's actually a true statement. I'm Afrikaans, I'm dying out. That's true, Jacques de Beer, but that's the consequence of cultural genocide that you're suffering from. Cultural genocide. There's no treatment for that except removal of the African National Congress and the disbandment of the domestic terrorist group known as the Economic Freedom Fighters. That's the only way you can overcome those things, folks, so please feel free to do that. Tanya says, yes, and testing to store your DNA. Dischem said if you do the antibody test, it isn't accurate. Antibodies don't last, so it's pointless. Exactly. Elizabeth, protect the susceptible and let it rip. Thank you, Lance. That's what I've been saying since February, since January. The way you deal with the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen, is not this nonsense, this utter, feckless, clueless, unscientific, dribble nonsense that just came from President Cyril Ramaphosa and from the likes of Dr. Tedros, the World Health Organization, Dr. Fraud, also known as Dr. Fauci, Dr. Blixen, not Donner and Blixen, but Dr. Blixen, come Donner and Blixen, most beautiful, what was it? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Anyway, so no, not Dr. Blixen. That's the wrong one. Those are all frauds. They're frauds. They've been wrong about everything over and over again. Now the question is, have they been willfully wrong? That's the question. Have they been lying to us or are they just idiots? How about being honest to us? We don't know. We don't have enough data. We surmise, we believe, we think this is the best course of action. And then when you've been proven wrong, be honest and admit it. Well, we were wrong. We didn't have enough data. Now the data shows us this. Or just stop lying to us like Dr. Fraud. Oh, it's dangerous to put your kids in school. No, it's not. It hasn't been dangerous the whole time. We told you that in February. Now Dr. Fauci says we should be putting kids in school. Well, of course we should be putting in school. And give me my damn tax dollars back for all those months I paid property tax for kids that weren't in school. These damn teachers unions don't give a crap about kids. And these political leaders don't give a crap about kids and their health and welfare and their mental development and their education and their literacy. They don't care. They're happy to have dumb, illiterate children. That's what they want. And it's working perfectly. Can you ever imagine a situation in which your kids were denied access to go to school and you just took it? You weren't up in arms. You didn't protest. You didn't march. You didn't demand politicians change. Well, that's what's been happening, folks. You've all been buying it, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, well, okay, well. No, not okay. This is fraudulent. We've known for months that kids don't pass the virus on. Rarely do. Most don't get it. Those who do get it are asymptomatic, and very few of them ever die from it. The number of pediatric deaths from COVID-19 around the world is infinitesimal. It's the sick, the vulnerable, the elderly, the immunocompromised who suffer from this virus and who succumb to it at a rate of less than 0.2% of those exposed. 99.8% or more of the population does not die from this virus. 99.8%. We've known this. Of course, they lied to us to construct this fantasy nonsense of the Black Plague, the bubonic plague coming and descending upon us. Like locusts coming down to conquer us. That's what they made it look like. 3.4%. Lies. Where did they get the data from? The Chinese Communist Party. Why is nobody exposing this? The Chinese Communist Party is the one that gave that data to the World Health Organization after they covered up the RNA as they finally got around to breaking it down. And they let 3 to 5 million people escape from Wuhan and spread the damn thing all over the world. The Chinese Communist Party, that's where the 3.4% came from. The Dr. Fauci told us was a deadly disease. 3.4% are dying. Dr. Tedros, China is the gold standard for how to respond to. No, they're not. They're not. This is not how you respond to a pandemic. You isolate the vulnerable. If you have type 2 diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, cancer, leukemia, you should be isolated and protected. Tuberculosis, HIV. Keep people away from you. You should be wearing masks in being well-ventilated places. You should be worried about hypersensitivity and cleaning things all the time and surfaces. You should avoid social contact. But the rest of us need to get the hell out there and have social contact. Swap, spit, knock boots, get together. Doom, have a good time. This is crazy. This is insane. This is not how science deals with the pandemic. This is how people who believe in witchcraft deal with a pandemic. There is actual science to how one deals with a pandemic, and it's not looking like anything like this. You isolate the vulnerable, you quarantine the infected. This voluntary quarantine for people who test positive is bullshit. If you want to take liberty, there's legitimate reason to take liberty. I don't advocate it, but you take the people who refuse to quarantine and you quarantine them, you lock them up until they're over the virus. That's how you stop it. Not a vaccine. The flu vaccine is hardly efficacious. The efficacy of it's not even. 1 year it's 30%, 1 year it's 50%, 1 year it's 70%, 1 year it's 10%. They have to guess the right strain. And 94% efficacy for this vaccination doesn't solve the problem. You solve the problem with proper scientific medical science approaches to a virus and a pandemic. And it is not the African National Congress. It is not Dr. Fauci. It is not Dr. Blixen. It is not the World Health Organization or the Chinese Communist Party. It is Taiwan. Taiwan, folks, let's take a look at that. Let's see where Taiwan's at. You ready for this? Let me see. Let's see if they had a surge. Let's see what's going on with Taiwan. Find Taiwan in here. I've talked about this endlessly. I made a video about it. T-A-I, Taiwan. Well, here you go, folks. 1 year into it, Taiwan, 160 kilometers from mainland China, where the virus came from. Taiwan, you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Make sure you got the right one here. Here we go. I'm going to put this up on the screen so everybody can see it, so there's no confusion, nobody's lost. 686 cases of coronavirus with 7 deaths. Ladies and gentlemen, that death figure hasn't budged in like 3 months. And that's factual information. You can take that to the bank. Unlike the Chinese Communist Party, which spreads propaganda, Taipei does not. Those are facts. When I first started covering the story about Taiwan, they had 400 or 300 or 400 cases. Taiwan is 25 million people. It's on the doorstep of the origin of this virus. And they've had 7 deaths, 25 million people. Meanwhile, they trip all over themselves to tell us how wonderful New Zealand has done, right? Not that New Zealand has done poor, but let's talk about what New Zealand has done, and let's get the facts, okay? Let's get the facts about New Zealand. Come on, why are you not loading this stupid thing? Okay, here we go. So New Zealand. New Zealand, here you go. You saw 600 cases, right? 600? Well, check out New Zealand, ladies and gentlemen. There's New Zealand. 2,069 cases, 25 deaths. 2,069 compared to Taiwan, which is right on the doorstep of the virus. Taiwan, 642 cases. New Zealand, 2,069 cases. 7 deaths, 25 deaths. Now that's impressive for both countries until you look at the fact there's only 4.9 million people in New Zealand. There's 25 million in Taiwan. So if you take the numbers that New Zealand has and extrapolate that, 5 million times 5. So if we did that, then if Taiwan was doing as good a job as New Zealand, according to the international media, then Taiwan would have 3,000 confirmed cases and they would have 35 deaths. But they don't. They have 642 cases and 7 deaths, which makes them demonstrably better than New Zealand. But you don't hear about it. Why? Because Taiwan didn't require masks. It didn't require people being locked up and locked down. They simply closed their borders, did proper contact tracing, isolated the vulnerable, quarantined the infected, and got control of the situation. That's how it works in the normal world. Why has the world lost its freaking mind over this nonsense? Absolutely lost their mind, ladies and gentlemen. This is beyond comprehension, this nonsense, this scandemic. That's what it is. It's a scandemic. It's a dangerous virus. But the politicians are more dangerous, and their lies are very dangerous. They're very harmful. Keith says, not using the best practice treatments seems to be the route to spread disease and fear across the world. Yep, indeed it is. Does Dr. Blitzen only work in December? Ross Rose says, my 84-year-old mother had shoulder replacement, tested positive. How? She and I have been isolated for 16 days since surgery. Exactly right. See, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Yep. Oh, so check this out, folks. The CDC yesterday announced that the quarantine period for COVID-19, because as they refine the science, is only 7 days now. So if you've been traveling somewhere, you only need to quarantine for 7 days because you'll manifest symptoms of the virus within 7 days is what they're saying, essentially. So when I went to Ohio to visit my ailing mother a few weeks ago, I came back and I've been back for 9 days, 10 days. And I was asked by the clinic because I had an appointment the next morning. They said, yeah, so have you been out of the state? I said, yeah, I saw my mother 10 days ago. Oh, you can't have an appointment. Why not? Because you could have COVID. Okay, but you just told me if I have symptoms, I can come in and get tested. But because I might have COVID, on the off chance that I might have COVID, you won't even let me come in, not even wearing proper mask. I thought masks worked. So if masks work, why can't I come to the clinic? You see the hysteria? Next, they're going to be burning witches. That's what they'll be. Oh, she's a witch. How do you know? Because she sinks. What? Look at her nose. They put this nose on me. Did you? Yeah, we did. What? It's like watching Monty Python. These people are crazy. Crazy, folks. Anyway, all right. Taiwan didn't buy into China's crap and New World Order. Yep, that's true. And then I don't mind, but your tracking is off. Huh? I'm lost. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, so when Trump is declared winner, he's going to have to ball up. Well, Elizabeth, I hope that's the case. These people are stooges, and Cyril Ramaphosa is part of it. This guy doesn't even realize just how embarrassing he is. You think anybody's buying his shtick? Nobody's buying it. Robin says, smelly fish since day one, and we always knew it. Yep. MF says they test people and give false positives. It's all a lie. What a pathetic human being this is, a liar. Yeah, you're talking about Cyril Ramaphosa, I presume. Absolutely, folks. Right. Well, we've been on for a little over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and call it there, and thank you all for tuning in. I hope you appreciate the analysis. But before I go, let me run down the bottom line. Nelson Mandela Bay now has a curfew from 2200, effective midnight tonight. 2200, so I guess it doesn't work, huh? Effective midnight tonight, 2200, so it must be tomorrow, 2200 to 0400. And then the retail alcohol sales are only allowed between 10 and 6 p.m. And then consumption of alcohol in public spaces is banned. Gatherings of 100 or less are the only ones allowed indoors, 250 or less outdoors. No facility can have more than 50% of capacity, regardless of what the number is. And then post-funeral gatherings are prohibited. And, of course, initiation rites in the Eastern Cape will continue. So, fellas, if you thought you were going to get out of the snip on the schlong, too bad. You're still going to get snipped on your schlong. So go out for that painful experience. And then they won't be allowed in Nelson Mandela Bay. Folks, there you go. At least PE has the drive-through strip club. No, it's closed, Elizabeth. It's closed a long time ago, from what I understand. All right, Robin, take care. Audio tracking's out with the sync with your visual. That's the stupid software. I thank you for that, Light Rain. It's the software. I can't keep restarting the camera all the time. It gets distracting, but I do it probably once or twice every show. This is a consequence of Logitech updating the software 3 times this year, and each time it's got progressively worse. There's nothing wrong with my camera. When I play through Zoom, it works perfectly fine. If it wasn't for the fact that Zoom times me out after 40 minutes when I'm by myself, I just use Zoom all the time. That software works fine. Anyway, folks, there you go. That's it. I'm out of here. Thank you. I'll be back on in 35 minutes for Night Owls Edition. We'll do a Night Owls Edition tonight. Thanks a lot for your support and viewership on the channel. God bless. And to Cyril Ramaphosa, thank you for the comedy. It's better than watching Dave Chappelle. It's just entertaining, all the humor you bring us with your absolute nonsense, the fairy tale. It's like reading a Grimm's fairy tale. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here in about 35 minutes on Chris White Africa. God bless and have a good evening and come back. Those of you who haven't been here in a while, where have you been? Welcome back. Psych! Now that all the fair weather fans are gone, we can get down to business, ladies and gentlemen. We can get down to business. You ready for this? Are you ready for this? I bet you weren't expecting this. Here we go. We are going to do it. Are you ready for this? Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the one, the only Dupree van Heerden. Yeah, that's right. Tresemme. Enjoy this.
Sien dat almal kak maak in die land. Tresemme, ons doen die ene vir jou. Cheers. Tresemme!
Ek kan nie glo na al die jare, al ons blonde hare, jy het so mooi gesorg vir ons blondies rondom my. Theresa May, daai rooi kabouter sit se klomp barbare, toe ek kliks en die kokare jou raak gery. Theresa May, ons harte wit daar maak die moerse groot skade, die gekookte hare nie bedoel vir jou en my. Theresa May, daai gekookte hare wat al was met seep en jou vir alles blameer. Theresa May, Theresa May, onthou jy hoe ons lekker lag om te sien hoe hulle daar die koeke was, maar jou sagte wit shampoo is vir my bedoel. Hulle dans en verwoes nou al die kliks, maar kliks is BEE level 6. Hulle maak al eie naam gat en al eie werkloos. Theresa May, ek kan nie glo na al die jare, al ons blonde hare, jy het so mooi gesorg vir ons blondies rondom my. Theresa May, daai rooi kabouter sit se klomp barbare, toe ek kliks en die kokare jou raak gery. Theresa May, ons harte wit daar maak die moerse groot skade, die gekookte hare nie bedoel vir jou en my. Theresa May, daai gekookte hare wat al was met seep en jou vir alles blameer. Theresa May,
Die pree word met trots geborg deur want ek is boer.
Met trots geborg van Chris White Africa, as is the following. Happy birthday, Lee. I'm glad we could share that with you, folks. It's not over yet. There's a birthday cake for Lee. So let me fix that very quickly here so you can see his birthday cake. And I got one more. This one, since it's your birthday, Lee, this is one's for major respect for all the folks who've came before us. They're served in uniform. And this one's a special one. I love this song. I've done it before on the channel. We're going to do it again here very quickly for you here. And we'll close out the stream and then get started for the next stream here shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, on Lee's birthday, happy birthday to Lee Robertse. This is a tribute to those who served in the border conflict, die Kapline from Bok van Blerk.
Nooit vir eer as jou naam dan op ons mure behou. Jy was nooit vir hier en niemand gaan nou. Oor jou lewe skryf en wat jy nog wou. En by daai mure staan ek vir ure. En by daai mure staan ek vir ure.
Sorry, folks. I get kind of torn up when I watch that video. I feel badly for all South Africans, white, black, Indian, colored, what South Africa could be, what it should be under legitimate governance, not this gangster state that rules your country and disparages its own citizens. I hope for the best for all of you as we face a common threat on this side of the Atlantic now. God bless. Thanks for tuning in. Be back in about 20 minutes for the Night Owls edition if you'd like to come back. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you here shortly on Chris White Africa. I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening to the Cyril Ramaphosa Comedy Hour. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless, and we'll catch you later.